This is Glass AC here, bringing you a tutorial on how to get an RTS style unit select feature into your game. Right here we have the finished goal of the project, so you can click drag, you can select this, make this guy go over here, and then select this, and then you can also have hold and shift to collect multiple units as well. So if you like what you see, stay tuned, as this video will show you how to implement this into your project. So let's get started. So once you start up your projects, first thing you gotta do, get into the habit of getting things organized. So we'll make a folder for scripts, a folder for prefabs for later on, and we'll have one for materials. So the first thing we want to do is set up our scene. So what we'll do is create a plane. We will move the camera up so we can see more stuff, and we will position it down, so at a 45-degree angle on the x-axis. And for simplicity's sake, we will change the material, so because it's really hard to see reflection or anything on white blends too well. So we'll go ahead and go to materials and go create a material, and we will make it red. And we'll just drag that on, easy peasy. And now we'll just create a unit, which we will use as our unit to be selected. Go ahead and move this here. That looks good. So what we're going to be needing is a nav mesh agent and a nav mesh. So if you guys aren't familiar with what a nav mesh or a nav mesh agent is just the walkable unit, walkable space for a nav mesh agent. So you can go ahead and go to Windows and open Navigation, and it will get you a new tab. So click on the inspector. From the inspector, you go to click on the plane, click on Navigation Static, and press Bake. And of course, we're gonna have to save the scene. For simplicity's sake, we can just make this RTS tutorial. You can name it whatever you want. So this is how we get the nav mesh. This is the walkable area for your nav mesh agent that you're gonna put on your unit. You can always make your own navigation system, but generally you don't want to do that until you're a lot more experienced with coding and Unity. So see this blue area, that is where your unit can move. So if you make it bigger, you go back and you're going to have to rebake if you make any changes to your environment. So we will just change this back. So let's get started on scripting. So we go ahead and make a C# script, and we'll go make this select. We'll just make it select unit. Go ahead and open that. So once you have Visual Studio open or whatever you're using, generally you won't have this in your system, so don't worry about this. So first thing we're going to need is we're going to have to make reference to the game object that we want to select, which are the selectable units. So we'll make a game object and make this selected unit. Easy peasy. So what we're going to be doing, we are not going to need the void start. So go down to the update, and the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you what we're going to be doing. So what we have here is a very, very poor image showing you what we're actually going to be doing. So this is your scene camera right here, and see, this is what you will be seeing through that camera. And what we want to be doing is every time we click, we shoot a raycast from the camera to the point where we click. So this is inaccurate because the ray goes through everything, but you can check if it connects with a certain object that you want to have raycast hit. And so you can just click wherever and it will shoot a ray to wherever you want. But we will be doing this right here, so you click over a selectable unit and it will become selected. And we'll have a marker down here to show that it's selected. So over here, what you'll be seeing is each dot will represent a click. So you can be clicking wherever, and generally it won't do anything unless you tell it to. So, but if you hit a unit, you are going to select it. And that is improved. Sorry for my dirty mind too. So let's get back to it. So first we're going to want to check if the user or the player has pressed the mouse down. Now for here, it goes up to, you can put 0, 1, or 2 in here. 0 being the left mouse button, the right being 1. and 2 being the middle button, the scroll wheel. But we are going to check if the player has pressed down the left mouse button. So when you do that, every time you do that, we're going to shoot a raycast. If you guys aren't familiar with raycast, I strongly recommend you go and look at the Unity documents on this. It's very extensive and it's pretty good to get what you want out of the raycast. But for this one, we'll be using physics. I always get it wrong. Physics.raycast, and we're going to be shooting the raycast from our main camera. So, and then we're going to be using the screen point array, which, if you go back to your game here, this is the screen, and where you click, it will have its own screen position. So every time you click here, it has its own screen position, and wherever you click on the screen, it's going to have its own position, and if you move the camera, etc., the screen position is not going to change. So we go back here, and we want to check where our mouse position is, and that's where it's going to shoot the ray. And we're going to want to, generally you can send out information, so we're going to go back here and make a raycast hit, and we're just going to name it hit. So what this is doing is just sending out information, and it's just storing it here in the raycast hit, and that's the information we're going to be using every time we're going to shoot the raycast. So, and you always need a range, you can make it whatever you want. 100 is good enough. Gets the job done. So we're going to be checking if we hit a certain object. So for this you can use tags. Generally tags is a lot easier than using names, because you can have a selected unit tag, and it will just check if it has that tag. So so if the tag equals, let's make it selectable unit. So if it has a selectable unit tag, then we're going to do it. If it doesn't, then we're not going to care about it. So we're going to so when we hit something with a selectable unit tag, we want to make it a selected unit. Easy enough. So to do that, we just go selected unit equals the hit. See how we stored the information? So this is the information of what we hit. So we go hit dot transform dot game object, and do this because we want to get the game object from we want to make it the game object. So we do that, and we're going to want to make a visual component to know if this unit has been selected. So we'll go here and we'll make a sphere. Easy enough. We will go over this, create sphere, and we will make this 1.3 and scale this down so it's very flat, and we'll make this 1.3 so it sticks around, and drag that down so you can see it. You know what, we can go ahead and remove the collider, and to make it more visible, we'll go ahead and make another material, and we'll go ahead and make that blue. You can make whatever color you want. You can make it, generally you can use projectors for this, but it's a lot easier to not get into that until way later on, if you know what you're doing with shaders and whatnot, because they can get really complicated. So for this, we're just going to use simple game object to show the selected units. So we can go ahead and name this marker. Easy enough. So we go back here, and we want to turn that on. So when we hit something, we'll go selected unit dot transform dot, and we want to find the child. We want to find the marker that we just put on it. So we can go ahead and make this find marker, and we're going to get the game object, and we want to set it active because it's going to start off, because you don't want it by default. Nothing's going to be selected, so we're going to start that with off, and we want to turn it on. So we can go ahead and go back and turn this off. Before we get started, we'll just name this unit, and we'll add the tag so we don't get it wrong. We go ahead and copy and paste this. And don't forget to add this, because generally I forget, I'm a noob. So gonna need to add this script onto a empty game object, or you can put it on the camera or whatever, but to keep it all organized, you can put it on a game object. So we'll go ahead and name that, we'll just go select unit manager, and go ahead and drag that on there. We're gonna make this public so we can see visually as well. So we can press play, and it should work. So we could maximize on play. So we can go ahead and press play and click, and first step is done. Give yourself a pat on the back, but we got a long way ahead of us. So we can go back here now, and we're going to want to select multiple units. So now we're going to want to select other game objects, so because right now, actually we will copy paste this and we'll have two game objects. So right now if we select something, it's going to select both, and we don't want that. So to do that, we'll go back here and check if selected units is null. By default it is always null, and why did I do that? So go here and do that. So we want to check if it isn't null. So if we already have something selected, we want to go ahead and deselect it, and then we want to select the other one. So we're going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to copy and paste this here and clear this up, and we want to do the same as before, but we want to reverse it. So we want to set the current selected unit marker to false because we don't want it anymore, and then we want to make it null. You generally don't need to make it null, but it's a lot easier for you to understand what's happening. So, and then we want to fill it again with what we just hit. So same as before, we can just take the whole thing as before and put it here, and now it should not do what it did before. Now we'll be able to select different units, and there we go. So go back here, and now we'll work on selecting multiple units, so you can select them both and control them both how you want. So we're going to have to come back here, and we want to be able to use a list. So first we're going to have to be using system.collections.generic, so we can use the list, and we go ahead and make a new list of game objects because we're going to still be using game objects, and we'll make it, you probably name it something else, but we'll go units. So, and we'll just make a new game object of game objects, new list of game objects, sorry. So what we're going to be doing here, we want to check if the player is holding down shift and then clicks the button, clicks this down. So we go ahead and do the same as before, but this time we want to check if it's pressing the left mouse button and clicking the generally you can have have both left shift keys. So I'll go ahead and show you that. Generally I just have the left shift key, but thinking about left-handers and right-handers, we can go ahead and make an OR statement, or go ahead and have the same one, but this time we're going to have the right shift. So it's checking if you're clicking the left mouse button and you're either having the left shift down or having the right shift down. So once you have that, then we're going to do the same as before. We want to shoot a raycast, and we want to check if we hit selectable units as well. Going to fill these up. So now we want to check if this is null. So if it isn't null, then we will go ahead and add it to the selected units before we do anything. So if selected units isn't null, so it's already got something in it, we want to go ahead and add it to our selected units, and we'll make selected units, and then we'll just make it null. So once we did that, we can now add whatever we just hit into our selected units. So same as before, hit.transform.gameObject because it's a game object that we want to add. And now we're going to have to go through every single unit that we just selected and turn on their marker so we know what we just did. So it's a simple for loop, and the tip is you can press tab twice and it completes your for loop for you, but you just have to fill this out. Selected units dot count. We want to go through every unit that isn't selected units, so we'll go selected units and the one that we're currently on dot transform dot same as before, and we want to set these to true. So once we do that, we can go ahead and come back here and do this. So if it is, then we add it. And that's a simple mistake. You want to make sure you're not holding down shift here. So if we're not holding down shift here, then we don't actually care about it. So we go back here and make sure we're not doing either one of these. And we're gonna have to actually remove the and sign. See, I'm unfamiliar with adding the right shift key into, but we're gonna have to. Man, why is it happening now? So we can go ahead here and play, and we got an error, and I just realized I just pressed the wrong button. So we go back here, and we want to make sure it's and we aren't pressing. So we aren't pressing any of the left shift, left or right shift keys. So then we can go back here. Oops, and I see the problem. Come back here. Oh, well, I'm all over the place today, so press shift and you have both selected. So basically, before we do anything else, I want to just get a visual representation of what we're actually doing. So we go ahead and make a new script, and we will go ahead and call it unit. And inside this, we want to open it up, and we want to check. We want to make reference to the select unit, so we'll have a select unit because we want to check if we are the selected unit in here. We want to check if we're in here or if we're in here as well, or in here. So we want to, and then we want to make reference to the nav mesh agent that we're going to put on. So we are going to call it just agent, and we're going to have to be able to move it. So we want to use raycast for that as well. So again, we'll use a raycast.hit, and now we're going to have to make reference to that. So selected unit equals game object dot find, and we're going to head and find this and put it in, and we want to get the component of that, and it's going to be the select unit. So once we did that, we can just easily check if selected unit equals this game object. So it's checking if this game object is the selected unit, or if the selected unit dot selected units. So when there's multiple, it's going to check if it contains this game object. So yet again, it's just checking if this game object is selected anywhere. So now we're going to use the inputs dot get mouse down, and this time we're going to use the right mouse button. So we're going to use 1. Oops. So if we press it down, we want to again shoot a raycast, and again from camera.main screen point and out the hit information, and again we're going to have 100. So once we've distinguished where we're going to want to move, we're going to give the information, but we want to check if we're actually hitting the environment and not just some random place. So we're going to check if the hit.transform.tag, same as before, same as how we did the selected units, and we're going to check if it's the floor. Easy enough. You can change this to whatever you want, it doesn't really matter, wherever you want to be able to move. And we're going to use the nav mesh agent function, and we're going to make the destination. We're going to call the destination function from the nav mesh agent, and we're going to make the destination of it where we hit on the floor, and it will move to there. So we go back here, we can add the unit script, and we want to add a nav mesh agent, and we should make reference to the nav mesh agent at the start. So we go ahead and go back to the unit script, go this game object dot get components, and we want to get the nav mesh agent off of it, and we want to use that. So we can go back here, make sure we have both the units with what we need on them. Go here, press play, and it should. That's right. Too hasty. We have to actually add the tag, and we'll add the floor. Don't forget to add the tag. I always do. Add the tag, and now it should work. There we go. They turn around and kiss even. They move like buddies, and they kiss. Depending on your game, it could be perfect for you. Look at him. Alright. We can go ahead and we can start working on the hardest part of it all, and that is the click and drag. So basically like what any click and drag is, you want to be able to draw the box and you want to select whatever is inside of it. So we're basically just replicating a classic mouse drag box. So what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to create a couple things. The first being a couple references we're going to be using. So we'll go ahead and create a couple references. First one being is a vector 3, and we want to get the mouse down vector, and we also want to check where our mouse currently is. So right here, that'll make sense later on when I show you, but this is saying where we clicked. So we go back here and it's saying we clicked. So right here is where we clicked, and where our mouse is right now is our current mouse position, current mouse point. So, and now we want to create a, let's just make it a private boolean, it doesn't really matter. Oh, let's make it public, so we can see what we're doing. And we want to check if we're actually dragging, because we don't actually want to make a box unless we're actually dragging. And now we're going to have to make references to the actual box that we want to draw, so we get a visual representation of what we're doing as well. So what we want to get box width, we want to get the box height even. We want to get where the left of the box is, and the box top. These will all make sense later on. You mark my words. So, and then we want to make a private vector 2. Make a vector 2, make sure it's vector 2, which only take in x and y. We want to check where the box actually finishes and the box, box starts and the box finishes. So we can go ahead down here, and we can make a feature. We can create the references to our current mouse position and our mouse down point. So we go here. So our current mouse position is just where our position is in everywhere else. So it's basically, you can copy and paste this from here. So it'll be raycasting the whole time. You don't actually have to click, so it's always raycasting. And we want to get the current mouse position will be where the raycast hits. But for the current mouse point, it's going to be it's only going to check when you click down the mouse. Oops. It's only going to check when you click down the mouse. So we're going to have the same raycast as before. Generally always going to use the same raycast, because no point typing it all out again and again and again when it's the same thing. And we're going to make this the mouse. So this is when we click down, it's going to get our current position, and this is it's going to correspond with where our current mouse position is now. Same as before. Now we can start making the box, so we can actually see, get a visualization of what we want to achieve. So go down here, and we only want to check. We only want to make the box reference if we're actually dragging. So if we're dragging, we want to check all these variables. So we're going to start off with the box width, and we're going to make that camera, same as before. We're going to make a camera.main, but this time, instead of using the screen position, we're going to use the world screen point. What this is saying is, so you have your world here, it's converting, so if you click here, so you'll be hitting here, it's going to convert that position into the screen position. You'll see what I mean in a sec. So we're going to be using the vector 3 of the mouse position, the mouse down point, and we only want to use the X for the box width, so we'll use the X, and we want to take away the camera.main. This generally is confusing to most people, but it'll make sense in a second. So we want to take away where our mouse is currently, so we can get we want to get the desired width of the box. So here is the box. So you can click down here, and you can drag your mouse all the way up to here. All we're caring about is this position right here, and this is your box width. See, so it's just taking it away from the box width. That's all it's doing. So you can do it either way. Oops. You can go, you can click down here and drag this way. All it's caring about is this position right here. Oh, just make it there. So that's all it's doing. Sorry about my poor graphic, but you generally get the idea from this. So we go back here, and now we want to check the box height. So basically the same as before, equals, I'm going to copy this, no point writing it out again, but instead of using the x positions, we want to use the y positions, because the y is up and down. So box height is referring to, let's go back here, oops, let's move this across. So what it's referring to is, so you have the box here, and you click here, this is where you click first, and this is where you are now. So all it's caring about is this height right here. So now you have the box width and the box height, and now you have the box, because you have the height, basic maths, and you have the width. Then you have your own box, whatever box you did here. That's what you have. Hoping it makes sense. Generally people so to make a box, all you need is a box height and a box width. So, and now we want to check the most left of the box to make reference to, you'll see in a second, to make sure where to actually start the box. And we want to get the input.mouse position, and we only want to get the x position here. And now we want to check where the box top is currently. So here we're going to use the screen height. So we're going to make reference to the actual, depending on how big your screen is. We're going to use the screen height, and we're going to minus the current mouse position. But we only want to minus it by the y position. And we want to take away the box height of it, so we can actually check where the box actually is the most top of the screen. Now we want to check where we actually want to start the box and where the box finishes. So we can make sure, we can check later on whether or not a unit is actually within that screen space. So we go back here, and we're going to check if the box width is 0. So this is basically just referring to, let's go back to the game. It's just checking whether or not you started on top left, or you started from top right, or bottom left, or bottom right. That's all it's checking. So it's just checking that, so it knows which way to actually draw the box. So make sure you get these symbols right. So its box width is greater than 0, and box height is less than 0. We want to make the box start equal to a new vector 2, because it's the screen space we're going to be working with. And we want to check the input dot mouse position x, and we just want to check input dot mouse position dot y. Yeah, that's easy enough. It's just checking the x and y position of your it's just checking where your box actually wants to start, and it's using your mouse position to get that. So now we're going to have to check whether or not else if. We're going to make a couple else if statements, and we're going to use this as a reference and make a couple of these. We only want 3 else if statements, so we go back here and make sure you do this properly. So here, the first one is going to be if box height is greater than 0, and box height is also greater than 0. Then we're going to want the box start to be the input.mouse position x plus. No, for this one we don't want to do anything with the x, but we want to do something with the y. We're going to plus the box height. So we go, and we're going to get the box start from there. So in the next else if statement, we want to check if box width is less than 0 and box height is also less than 0. So we're going to get the box start again, and then instead of having the box height here, we want to add on to the plus x, the position x, and we want to use the box width. And for the last one, we want to check if it is less than 0 and it's also greater, box height is greater than 0. And for this one, it's basically just adding these together now. So for the last one, you would want to have the box width, add the box width and the box height. So after we did that, we want to check where the box finished. To do that, we want to make a new vector 3, vector 2, sorry, and we want to get where the box started, dot x, plus, you'll see what I do in a sec. We'll make a new function, and all it's doing is making sure if box width is a negative number, to unsign it to make it a positive number. So we'll do that in a sec. So, and then we'll have the box start dot y, and we want to take away the unsigned box So we'll go down here, just make a, go ahead and make a separate function down just after the update. We're going to make it, call it unsigned as before, and it's going to take in a float value. And if you know anything about maths, this is pretty simple. So we're going to check if the value is, if it's less than 0, we just want to times it by itself. We just want to times it by -1, which will give you the same number just as a positive. And we just want to return it, and that's what you'll get at the end of it. So to get a visualization of what we just did, we can go ahead and call the onGUI function and just create a, you can make this wherever, but we'll just make it at the top. So we can check if we're dragging. We want to make a GUI box. We're going to give it a new rect, and we're going to sift in the box left, then the box top, the box, we just want to construct the box really. So, and then we're going to want to sift in, box height for this one, and we don't want any content. And while I'm at it, I just realized we haven't actually activated the isDragging function. So we can go ahead and create that now. So we want to check if we actually want to drag and not just actually normal clicking. So we want to check, we'll just check if the mouse is dragging. So we want to check, oh, it's Boolean of course, we want to check if we are dragging, then we're going to return true. If we're not, then we will return false. So we want to check if the current position, the current mouse position, what we've already stored, what we're always calling, if it position X is, so you can make this wherever you want. You can just have it like this. You can just have it like this if you want for all your functions, but I generally want to have some leeway with it, so we'll go -2. You can have, no, we'll go -1, and we'll have if it's equal to mouse position. So right now we can go ahead and call this a couple times. We want to check every position. So here, and we'll go space to get a better look at everything. And we want to go ahead and change this to Y, and this to Y, and this to Z to check all the 3 dimensions. And here we want to reverse it, and we want to go ahead and do this and make this -1. Go take this away, make this -1, and go ahead and take this away and minus it by 1. And before you forget, change these values. So if it's either one of these, we want to return true. And if it's not doing either one of these, we want to just return false, because we're not actually dragging. So we go here. Well, you can make it at the top is best. We want to check if we're pressing the left mouse button, if we're holding it down. So if we're getting it holding down, so get mouse button, it's checking it every frame, checking if it is down. This one down only checks it when it's pressed down once. It only checks it once, and this only checks it once when you let go of the mouse button. So we want to check it constantly. So if we are holding it down, we want to raycast. You don't need to have the raycast, but I've found you need this so it doesn't drag when you actually want to select a unit. So we can check if where our mouse is currently, if we're not actually over a unit that we want to select, because if we want to select a single unit, it will accidentally drag, and we don't want that, because if it is dragging, it is very difficult to actually select a unit. So we want to check if the information we just hit, if tag doesn't equal what we have down here, so if it doesn't equal what a selectable unit is, then we want to check if we're actually dragging or not. And if it goes all the way to here, we want to say is dragging equals true. And to make sure we stop what we're doing. Oops. So now we're going to call the get mouse up button, so it's checking if the mouse is now up, and we're going to use the left mouse key again. So this is when you're holding it down, and this is when you let go of it. So we want to say, alright, we're done here, we are finished dragging. So when we're done doing this, is dragging equals false. So I think this is a lot for your brain to handle, I understand. Mine's hurting now as well. Need some water in my throat. But it should work now. So we can go ahead here, and there we go. We have our own box. There are a couple glitches, bugs that we probably have to finish later on, but it's probably to do with the floor not being there. So at the end, we've created a box. Now we want to check. We want to actually check if there's a unit where our box is, and we want to put that into our selected units. So let's get started on that. Before we do that, I think the problem here is these. I changed these to 2 and it works perfectly now. It doesn't glitch. Just like that. So change each of these ones to a 2, and we'll move on to what we need to put the units in our selected units. So first we want to check if a unit is within the screen space. It's redundant to check whether to go through every unit. It just checks the ones on the screen itself. So this will take in a vector 2, and we'll just say unit screen position. That should be fine. So we'll check it with, we're going to check if unit, the screen position, we're going to check if its X is within the box start, within the screen width. It's going to check if it's in the screen width, and it's going to check if the Y is within the screen heights, or simply if the unit, the X is more than 0, because it has to be more than 0 to be in the screen space, and units screen position dot Y is also more than 0. So if that is, then we will return true. Else we'll just return false. So if it's not in the screen space, then we'll just get false. And while we're here, we'll create another bool, and this will be units within drag. So this is basically just checking whether or not the unit is within the box radius, and then it'll put it in the drag with another function that we'll do after this one. So same as before, we'll have units, we'll need another vector 2, and we'll use screen position. So we'll check if check if the X value is greater than the box start. We'll check if it's the X value of the box start, and if the unit position dot the Y position is less than the box start of the Y value. And after that, it also has to be within unit.screen position dot X has to be within the box finish, because if it's not in the box finish, then it's not actually within the box. So, and if the Y value is, so it's just mirroring the statement before, but this time it's just checking whether if it's within the box finish, and here it's checking if it's in the box start, within the box start radius. So if it is, then we're going to return true, and this is what we're going to use to actually check that if the units are within the box radius. So we're going to check if the unit is within the actual drag space, so it's going to do that. So we go back here, and while we're here, we might as well create our last function really, which is actually putting the units from the drag into our selected units. So this will be our final thing. So we'll go units from drag, put units from drag into selected. Remember, you can use whatever you want. I'm just making it so it's more self-explanatory. So put units. So it's going to check if there are actual units. But before that, we're going to have to come up to the top, and we're going to actually create a couple more lists. You can use arrays, but lists are a lot more convenient. So we'll go units, we'll check the units on screen space. So this will just keep track of all the units on the screen. New game object, and we'll have another game object list. Game object list, and we'll say units within the drag, or just units in drag, please. And new game object list. So down here, we're going to actually check, because we don't want to call this function unless we actually have units within our screen space, within our drag. So it's no point calling this function if there's nothing in the drag. So if there are, then we're going to go through all the units in the drag, and we're going to go ahead and add them. So we're going to go through everything in the drag, and we're going to check if the selected units doesn't contain it, because if it doesn't contain it, then we want to actually add it, because we don't want to add it unless it's not already in the drag space in the selected units zone. So if it isn't in the selected units, then we're going to go ahead and add it, because you don't want to get any duplicates from this. So, and then while we're here, we'll just say units in drag, and we just want to clear the list, because we'll be, when we call this function, we'll be done with the units in drag, and we want to get ready for the next drag. So we're going to go ahead and go to our unit script, and we're going to add a couple things here. But before I start, I want to say you should probably put the next stuff on another script, and then put that script on every single unit, because it's going to have to keep track of all the information. So I'll go ahead and show you what I mean. So we have to go through the vec. We're going to get a screen space, screen position, and we want to get a boolean. And by default, it's going to be off. So the screen position is always going to be equal to our main camera's point of view. So again, going to go world to screen point. So it's going to get a position from the world and put it into our screen position. And we're going to use this .transform.position for the reference. And now, by this, you can put this on every unit to check if it is on the screen space, because you might not want this. You might want to add take that out. How do I take it out? So once we've done this, we'll go ahead, and if we're going to call the function. We're going to check if it is in the screen space, and we're going to filter in our screen position, our vector 2, and if it does contain it. So, and then if it does come true, because this is a boolean, after all, this is just a boolean. So all it's doing is checking if it is in the screen space, and if it is, it will return true. So if it does, we'll say on screen equals true, and I just realized this is double E. And then we'll go ahead and add it to the screen's our list if it's not already. So if we're going to go check if it doesn't contain it. So if it doesn't contain it, oops. If it doesn't contain this, then we want to add it. Screen.add, and we'll just go ahead and add this .game object. And we're going to have to check if it isn't actually on the screen space, then we're going to say on screen, then we're going to want to take it off. If it was on screen, and if it was on the screen, then we want to say we want to take it off again. So we're going to go ahead and remove it from the list. So we'll take this, and instead of add, we just go ahead and put remove, and it will say on screen equals false. So this is what this is doing. It's checking if it's in the screen position, and if it is, then we go ahead and add it. And if it's not, but it was on the screen space, so if it's not on the screen space now, but it was, then we go ahead and remove it from the list. And that's all we have to do for our unit script. You can go ahead and do whatever you want here now. but we'll go ahead and go to our select units, and we go ahead and do the drag function. So here, if you guys are unfamiliar with late updates, it is called after the entirety of update has been gone through, and then it goes to late update. So it's the last thing you'll do. So the first thing you want to do is, even though we've done it before, we're going to just clear it again, just so it's all fresh. And we want to check if we're dragging. So if we're dragging, and let's say if units on screen space dot count is greater than 0, because we don't really care about calling this function if there's nothing to actually put in to our selected units. If there's nothing to select, it won't call the function. So we're going to go ahead and, if there was a selected unit, we'll make it null because we no longer want it. So we're going to go ahead and make another for loop, double tab. We're going to go through every unit on the screen space, and we're going to get a couple game objects. So first one is going to go game object, and we'll just make it unit object. It could just be unit if you want. And we'll make it units on screen space .i as game object because we want to get that game object, and we'll have to make reference to the script. So we'll go position.script equals unit object dot transform, and we want to get the unit script. Call it units, and then we want to get the select marker because we want to make reference to turning on and off the select marker, whether or not it's actually in the drag. So we have to get that reference. So dot transform dot find child, and we'll just go ahead and use this and take away that. So now we want to check if the units. Let's go units within drag, and we're going to fill in the position script here. If it contains, this doc contains, and we're going to fill in the position script here. No, let me think. It's wrong order. We're going to go ahead and put in the unit script here. Close the brackets, and we're going to check if we're going to use the function if within the drag, and we're going to fill in the position script here. We're going to check if the screen position is within the drag, and if it is, then we're going to turn on the select marker, and we're going to add it to our drag. Oops. Unit object, and if it's not in our drag, we're going to check if it's not in our drag space. We're going to unit object. We're going to turn off its select marker. So once we've done that, we are basically done. We just have to put in the units call this function. We just want to put the units. We just want to put the units from the drag into our selected units. And go ahead and try it. And there's something wrong, and I think it is here. I am completely retarded. We need to change this. So we need to check if it's less than, and now it should work. Perfect. Oh man, getting these wrong every time. And there we have it. You have your own. So once we're done, we want to go ahead and check our code. It should read all nicely. And I just realized this is the wrong way, and I do believe this goes this way, and now we should have a perfectly good unit script. And there we have it. To nullify whatever you have selected, we can easily have another function. We just check whether we hit the floor or something. So we can go ahead and do that. We'll start here. So if I'm gonna check if hit transform dot tag equals we're gonna check if it hits the floor. So if it hits the floor, we want to go ahead and go through every selected unit, because when if there are selected units, the selected unit will be null at that point. So we'll go through every selected unit dot count, and we go ahead and do the same as we did here. We can just copy this and paste it here, but instead of true, we'll have false, and we can just do the same thing. Down here. So we'll say if, no point rewriting things, waste time. So if we hit the floor, then we'll say selected unit dot transform find child, and we'll set the thing to false, and we'll make selected unit null. So I'm gonna give you a quick rundown of what we're doing. So this is just creating the drag box so you can see it. This is checking what units is within your drag, and we're putting it in the thing. This is just the function to start dragging and to stop dragging. This is just to select a unit and deselect. This is to select multiple units, and this is to reference to box. There's definitely some boolean. You can make a boolean for this, but I think it's easier for you guys to see what's happening. And then this is just self-explanatory. This is checking if we want to drag here units. We're checking if units are in the screen space, and checking if it's within drag, and then we put it into our drag units. So if you guys didn't get a good view here, I will zoom in, because there you go, and up here. So that's all you need to make this work. And now you can deselect. And before I just forgot, you want to go ahead and clear the selected units up here. No, we'll make it... We're actually going to have to call the same function up here. So all you have to do, copy and paste the same function, and we want to clear it each time. So we'll go ahead and select it .units. Sorry about that confusion, but sometimes when you go through code, you have to think about everything. There's a lot of things to think about, so we just have to clear it each time, and you should have the desired function of your... So we have multiple units now, and we clear it, just like that. Select, and now we can use the left shift key. So just like that. I hope you guys enjoy, and hope you guys see you in the next video.